Good evening. Please rise for flag salute. Remain standing for a brief prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bless us, Lord, as we gather today for this freeholder meeting. Guide our minds and hearts as we may work together for the good of our community. Help us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Amen.
Amen. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you to stand. We had the passing of a really great guy in Willingboro, ex-mayor Eddie Campbell. I was very fortunate to know him for a number of years. Dedication that he had to the residents of Willingboro. He was a shining example to what a public representative of town should be. I will miss him a lot. If I could ask just for a moment of silence. Thank you very much.
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, is to announce that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. Also pursuant to the 2019 bylaws, rules, and regulations of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Burlington, time shall be set aside on the agenda for the receipt of public comments. Public comments shall be received with respect to agenda items prior to the board consideration of resolutions to be adopted. An additional opportunity for public comment will occur later in the meeting. Public comments shall be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Unused time may not be transferred to another speaker. Persons may speak once per public comment period. I direct the deputy clerk to enter into the minutes of this meeting this public announcement and the advance written notice of this meeting. Freeholder Hobson. Here. Freeholder O'Connell.
Here.
Freeholder Singh.
Here.
Freeholder Tiver.
Here.
Director Pulliam.
Here. This time we'll be asking for the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, March 27, 2019, as well as the conference meeting of March 27, 2019.
So
Have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now at this time we will move to recognition for the evening. First recognition is Parkinson's Awareness Month. At this time I'll turn it over to Freeholder Dan O'Connell to present the presentation.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. Parkinson's disease is the 14th leading cause of death in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And it is estimated that the economic burden of Parkinson's disease is at least $14.4 billion annually, including indirect costs to patients and family members of $6.3 billion. Research suggests the cause of Parkinson's disease is a combination of genetic and environmental factors, but the exact cause and progression of the disease is still unknown. Volunteers, researchers, caregivers, and medical professionals are working to improve the quality of life of persons living with Parkinson's disease and their families. I would like to invite up Myra Hirschhorn with the Parkinson's Disease Support Group through Virtua up to receive a proclamation honoring the month of April as Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. Are you here, Myra? Myra's not here. Well, we'll make sure that she gets this proclamation anyway. Thank you very much, folks.
Our second recognition for the evening is National Volunteer Week. This time we will be recognizing National Volunteer Week. We have so many volunteer groups here in Burlington County that go above and beyond the county residents. And we are recognizing a few of those groups tonight. With that, I'll turn it over to Deputy Director Singh.
Thank you, Director. Where would we be without our volunteers? Right, coming this Saturday, we have a cleanup day going in almost all the municipalities. We have some groups, obviously we are going to miss a lot. We have a few groups identified that organize volunteers and do continuous programming to help the community. So I'm going to call on these groups one at a time, and if you could please come up if you are associated with those groups. Yes, do we have a retired and senior volunteer program? Do we have any represent? Oh, very good. Okay. Come on in. Yeah.
We don't bite.
I'm sorry. You can come on this side right here. So if you could come by and join. And
Karen Bennett.
Karen and Eunice and
This is Colleen Homer.
Holly. Okay. Thank you so much for coming to the short notice.
Thank you.
And I'm going to quickly read about a little intro on their group, and then I would ask if you could please tell us a little bit more about the programming that you provide. So you're able to provide a wide variety of essential services at little to no expense. You work with elementary students, and you provide tutoring, reading, and other mentoring programs. And I am looking at some of the numbers. Close to 1,000 students at RCBC you provide tutoring to. Wow. I was one of the tutors sometimes.
Oh, okay. But were you a volunteer?
No, I'm an adjunct faculty, so I was my hours there working with the tutors.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's true, you were too. We could have been a volunteer.
Thank you. Could you want to say a little bit more about some of the programming and which parts of the county and populations you hit?
Sure, and I want these two, if they
Sure.
may briefly speak as well. Colleen is from the state office, talking about the National Corporation for National.
Do you want me to do like?
Yeah, you can do the intro,
corporation
yes.
and then I'll branch out? Okay.
Yes, and then we can talk about specifics.
So thank you for having us tonight. I'm from the Corporation for National Community Service, and we are a federal independent agency that promotes volunteerism in the country and throughout the country. So I'm with the New Jersey State Office. We work up in Trenton, and through some of our volunteer programs, we have the RSVP program, which is what Karen runs here in Burlington County. The program is for 55 years and greater for volunteers, and they are welcome to donate their time to do the various programs that Karen was and you were just mentioning, such as volunteering to mentor or tutor, anything from that to
Eunice will talk about our SHIP Medicare counseling program.
Great.
And we have evidence-based health-related programs, and we have a lot of programs that serve seniors. And we are actually in the Superior Court. We have volunteers in the Superior Court here in Mount Holly.
For legal help?
All these committees, there's
Okay.
all kinds of foster parenting and there's a lot of committees that they serve in mediation. I don't have all my notes with me.
Sure.
And what else do we do? Well, Eunice, what do you do for SHIP?
Quite a bit.
What is SHIP?
You had to put me on the spot. I said so much. Quite a bit. We do quite a bit. And what I'm saying, Karen has been heading this up for years, and she's very good at it.
It's Medicare counseling.
Medicare, yes. So this could be your mom, your aunt, your dad. We handle a lot of Medicare issues, putting them on, answering do they qualify, what they can get, cannot get. I also work for PAD and Senior Go in Trenton. That's the pharmaceutical piece, specified low-income SLMI. That's the 135 that Social Security takes out. If their income is under the limit, we give it back. The Lifeline, 225 once a year for the gas and electric. And then we go to the next level, whatever they need.
So it's helping people save money through their Medicare
Absolutely.
payments.
Mm-hmm.
So we give back approximately $500,000 in free services to the citizens of Burlington County, and we have a very small membership to be able to do that. So, yeah.
One thing I know we appreciate, the county appreciate your footprint in here, and especially some of the services you mentioned, just knowing what is out there, how you can save money. And people have Medicare, but what are the other things besides just normal doctor visits and other things that it covers? I didn't know that it covers some of the other expenses that you mentioned.
There's preventative programs, and depending on their monthly income, they can get added benefits and even greater savings that we can help them to find.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here.
I was just going to say there's programs they can stay in their home. It's
Okay.
called Jack and Pace. There's all kind of programs, rental assistance, food stamps, SNAP. We go into it all. So if you know anybody who need it, call us.
Thank you so much. I have a little
Okay.
proclamation recognizing you once a year, just all the things that you do to help our county residents. Okay?
We're so pleased to do that. We're honored for this. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. One more.
Yes, she will get it.
All right, thank you.
Yep, and our next group is, this is one I see often at some of our county events. Usually they are organizers. I know last year I saw them organizing an event in January to run Dr. Martin Luther King, the Service Day. Volunteer Center of Burlington County. They're very active on Facebook, social media, and all throughout the county. Let's see, where they are. From what I know is, familiar faces. How are you? How are you, man? Now, was I in the program that was part of this back then?
Yeah, as a high school student, you were a volunteer, absolutely.
I was volunteer through the, wow, so almost 20 years ago.
Oh,
It
made me feel old.
I was part of a program, Colors, community organized lectures on racial sensitivity.
Yes, very good.
And we were some high schoolers from different schools.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was a guy in RV that was part of the group.
Yep.
Who we really bonded and had fun, and we would actually go out and do presentations at community centers and senior centers,
Schools.
and all the work that you continue to do, and all the other things, just recognizing the volunteer opportunities available and identifying the opportunities and connecting people with the opportunities. So thank you so much for all the work that you do. Would you like to add more details?
No, I'm looking for Mike Pittman.
No. Visit our website. How's that?
Yeah.
Volunteer Center, Burlington County, and we're grateful for being here and to the college for housing us. We have office space over there. So,
I know I get an email from you too. I think I've been getting it for years.
yes.
That identifies some of the events coming up, some of the opportunities people can have to volunteer, and so entities can list too, right?
Yes,
And you
no
guys do-
charge. They're able to sign up, and as well as anyone can sign up to look for opportunities. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So we have a proclamation recognizing all the work that you do. Thank you so much. You guys go.
Over here, we're going to Christine over there. Yep.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. There's Holly.
Oh.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Good to see you, my
Thank you
friend.
for
Nice seeing you, man.
Purse.
Some of the faces you don't never forget.
How's it going?
And our third group, and we're so fortunate to have this many volunteer groups around. So this is Medical Reserve Corps. So this is made of people with health professions and also outside the health profession that go above and beyond connecting residents with services and also helping them identify some of the needs and opportunities available. So I'm going to ask their volunteers. Okay, so responding to disasters, and we have recently had the wildfires. Were you guys involved in that too? Not this one.
Not this one.
Okay. Affecting any public health emergency. Can you say a little bit more about any of the recent events where you were at the front lines involved in?
So the hurricane, the last hurricane in South Carolina, one of our volunteers actually was down there and working in one of the medical needs shelter. We use our volunteers a lot for our points of distribution, our pod exercises, where we do flu shots and things like that. And our volunteers are very active with our health fairs, and they do blood pressure screenings, skin cancer screenings.
We worked in the shelters when we had the other disasters. We worked in the shelters when we had other disasters. So Burlington County College shelter and the church was
The Fountain of Life.
Not in the lecture.
Oh, okay. Very good. Well, thank you so much for all the work that you do. We have a proclamation recognizing your volunteerism in the county. If you could all come together to receive it. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And Community Emergency Response Team, our next group. So on a similar line, you are also disaster preparedness, recruiting volunteers, making sure anytime something comes up that you're able to call everyone in to the front lines. Would you please add more details to the work that you do?
Well, we have two parts. We make sure that residents of Burlington County are prepared in case of an emergency or disaster. We train them in disaster preparedness, and we also support the emergency office of emergency management and the first responders in a the kind of disaster, hurricane, missing person searches, anything of that nature.
A lot of it is training that we do for our own members, along with Medical Reserve Corps. This year, we've done a lot of training called Stop the Bleed training to teach people if there were an active shooter incident, how to apply tourniquets quickly to save lives. Also with the opioid crisis, we have done Narcan training to be able to reverse the effects of other kinds of medications. We tomorrow night actually, we're going to graduate a new class of CERT members who will be going to teams all over the county. So it's not just a county team, we have multiple teams throughout the county. And even if they just take the training, that they're prepared, that's really what we're
Where are you
we're
based?
doing.
Your physical location?
We work out of the County Office of Emergency Management.
Right, in public safety. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here, and a little token of appreciation from us.
Thank you.
And then your grandparents as a flashlight.
Thank you.
What a connection. Thank you so much. And one of the last ones, the Community Animal Response Team. I know they were really in action with the Holly last year. And that was a horrific discovery when we had animal abuse going on in, was it Southampton, right? Chemung there. And the work that you do, I know Holly was there all day, rescuing and then trying to find placements for our four-legged friends. So thank you so much. Are you? Is anybody else here with you from?
No, I'm at County Animal
So could you
Response
add a little bit more of the things? How does it start?
Okay, well, the County Animal Response Team works hand in hand with the CERT, Community Emergency Response Team. So in the event of a disaster, if CERT helps open up a human shelter, CART will then open up a pet-friendly shelter for their animals. Okay. So whenever there's an event, and especially if there's an actual disaster or any type of incident like that Chemung incident, right. If first responders are a little bit overwhelmed and they need extra, volunteer hands, that's when they call in the CART to help them. So like CERT, we do a lot of community outreach, preparing people. If they need to evacuate, they need to be able to evacuate their pets as well. So it's a lot of, outreach for emergency preparedness for the pets.
Now, did you guys did you receive any pet leisure from Puerto Rico? Was it
we don't do actual rescue from other organizations. If they needed extra help, we can
remember something
do that,
coming out from there. They shipped a lot of the animals out at that time.
Yeah, I think some came to the animal shelter. They
some
came to the
animal
Burlington County Animal Shelter. Yeah. Right. But like say during Superstorm Sandy, we had folks coming in from Seaside Heights, from Atlantic City and LBI, and they came in, were bussed in, and then they could bring their pets too. So So that's what we do.
Yeah.
We try to make sure that there is a provision for the pets. And especially now, because now it's the law that you need to bring your pets with you if you're told to evacuate. So, and we do a lot
I
of...
did not know that.
Yeah, it's a
Nice.
relatively recent law in 2017. It was passed. So,
Well, thank you
everybody's
so
gonna
much for
plan.
all the work that you do.
Okay.
Okay, here's a little recognition.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Yes, sir. I believe we had Freeholder Connor here.
Yeah,
Came in.
is Myra Hirschhorn here?
Yeah, we're here.
Yes, please,
Sorry,
could you step forward, please?
I have two other people.
We read about your organization, but you guys weren't here, but we have a
Oh, I'm so
proclamation.
sorry.
No, that's okay. Hi,
Hi,
I'm Dan.
hi Dan,
Nice to meet you. Hello.
This is Betty and her husband, is that coming up? No.
Why don't you guys step over here so the
Okay.
crowd can see you?
Okay.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about the organization?
Parkinson's?
Yeah,
Okay.
we said a little bit before, when we tried to do this the first time, but.
Okay, I apologize.
No, don't worry.
Yeah, that last time. Parkinson's, I think we all know about. It's a disease that affects 10 million worldwide, close to 1 million in the United States. The numbers are only going to increase as the baby boomers get older. We have 3 groups in our area that we have support groups. We try to provide as much information as possible to them. We're keeping abreast of research and making our phone calls to legislators and all to get funding when needed, because it is not only something that affects people physically, it affects many other things. It can develop dementia, there's difficulty with, so very many things, anxiety, lots of things. It can go on for a long time. Each case is different. It's called the snowflake disease, that each one is different. Some people can go for a long time, sometimes shorter, but we're really working to get as many people aware and get support for moving forward. They're working on treatments, they're working on finding the cure. We're finding many more treatments. And within the last 2 years, there have been several meds that came out that are helpful. But of course, we're looking for the cure.
Sure.
For us, for our children and grandchildren.
Well, we'd just like to, on behalf of the entire Freeholder Board, present you with this proclamation to say, a small way to say thank you for what you're doing and raising awareness, and we hope they do find a cure.
Yes.
Now, getting close up there.
And I'm not contagious.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Christine.
Okay, I've got material for everybody.
Oh,
If you want
sure.
to pass it out
I'll
so
pass it out.
that you can share information
For my colleagues?
about it. Yes,
Absolutely.
and then from Michael J. Fox,
Oh,
he had brains.
well, tell Michael J. Fox, we appreciate that.
Okay.
And thank you very much for coming.
Okay,
out
thank
with
you
us.
very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a great evening.
Okay, you too.
Distribute the brains into the-
You can play with them while
Distribute
you're,
Okay, now at this time, we'll move on to public comment on agenda items. At this point in the meeting, public comment is limited to items on tonight's agenda. Anyone who wishes to speak on any other topic will have a chance at the public comment section later in the meeting. Please note that public comment and your opportunity to provide us with input and feedback. This is not a question and answer forum. A reminder, each speaker may only come up once per public comment portion. Do we have anyone who wants to speak on something on the agenda?
I1, I2, I3, and
sorry,
I17. Oh, sorry, Carol Melvin Springfield. Sorry. I1, I just wanted to know where the budget is online so I can look at it. Is it online?
It'll be posted after the meeting.
After tonight, okay.
Yeah.
I2 is for RCBC, a $6.8 million bond. What is this for, please?
I'm gonna have to get that one for you, Carol. Let me check.
All right, I3 is the same question, 28.4 million. What's that for?
so you have to get back to me.
Yes.
I-17, a smaller amount of money, $17,550. Is that coming from open space tax money?
That is from the budget, yes.
So open space tax money is paying for sound production services.
This is for the open in the amphitheater. I think I can give you the connection to the director afterwards, and they can talk about more of the program that we provide and what this does.
But my point is, it's for sound production
And you-
services,
you
and
can-
you didn't want to use open space tax money to save the pool. That's the point I'm bringing up. Thank you.
Anybody else on the agenda item? Okay, I'll move on to resolutions. Before we move into the resolution portion of the meeting, I'd like to point out item I1. We are introducing our 2019 county budget. Crafting the county budget is a long and challenging process, as everyone knows. It requires us to scrutinize every aspect of government operations, spending trends, and revenues. I'm thrilled to report that the county has reduced the county portion of the tax levy by $250,000 and still maintain the excellent level of services that our residents expect. Our Freeholder Board is committed to transparency and an open process of government. Over the next few weeks, we will have the opportunity to, you will have an opportunity to review our budget. Copies will be available in the county libraries and online, as Deputy Director said right after the meeting. Any questions can be sent to finance@county.burlington.newjersey.us, where you can have an opportunity to ask your questions in person. Our CFO, Carolyn Havlick, will also be available for appointments on Thursday nights from now until the budget adoption on May 8th. Okay, at this time, I would like to make a motion that we approve resolutions I1 through I15 by unanimous consent.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Freeholder Singh.
Thank you, Director. I'd like to move the two items, I-16 and I-17, by unanimous consent.
So moved.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Freeholder Hobson.
Thank you, Director. I'd like to move with unanimous consent items I-18 through I-22.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Freeholder O'Connell.
Yes, thank you, Freeholder Director. I'd like to move items I-23 and I-24 by unanimous consent.
All in favor?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, at this time, I'll entertain questions from the press. Questions from the press? I figured I'd try again, Dave. Okay, at this time, this time I want to move on to public comments. This is the portion where you can come up. Please, at the microphone, give your name and address for the record, and you can speak on any comment, on any topic.
Hi, my name is Barbara Moore. I live in East Hampton Township, and we have a little issue with a basin, a retention basin behind my property, which is leaking not down but sideways. My sump pump has been running for now 6.5 months, and there is no, I've been to Lumberton Township, I'm not getting anywhere. So I was wondering if in fact, I have a lot of paperwork on it and everything over the past years. I've lived there since 1986 and didn't have a problem until The faulty basin started in 2007. I was wondering if you guys have, or the township has, an independent engineer that could come out and look at the situation instead of using Lumberton's, because I'm not getting anywhere talking to Lumberton Township.
I'm William Moore, I'm her son. We've been to countless township meetings with the committee. They're dragging their heels on the situation. Currently, there's only 17 houses on our street, and I know it's not a lot. However, it's affecting 3 of our houses right now. In all the years we've been there, we've never had water until this basin was created. It's leaking, it's affecting 3 of the houses. There was a 4th house that has a French drain, which the water is not leaving the French drain, it's just stale. And we have another house on the end that's experiencing a lot of soil erosion. Our house and the house across the street are experiencing soil depressions in the yards. We tried to work with Lumberton on it. They have given us a couple of engineering plans they've done. However, a lot of it is not in detail. We've had to open a lot of the information. And we're asking if the county has the engineer that can actually interact with Lumberton to see that we can get this resolved.
Okay. Why don't we do this? Why don't you leave the information that you have information now?
I have it. We didn't bring it home because you got a lot of presenters. However, we would be willing, if you have somebody, a representative for you, we can come over and show them the information. Okay. Rather than do it in this forum.
I probably can't promise you that, but what I can do is if you give me, get the paperwork,
yes,
I can let them maybe review it and see if they have any recommendations. Okay, we can also try and reach out to Lumberton and see if they can help.
Well, I know that the
maybe
basin...
sometimes we give a call, maybe they'll help.
Okay, I know the basin was not lined with any kind of clay or anything so that the water does not go down. It comes across underground into my property, and then the pump goes off. Like I said, it's been 6 months now.
The basin actually, there's several issues. First of all, I'd rather not name who the engineer is, but one of the engineers told us that, first of all, it should have been lined with clay due to the proximity to the residences. Secondly, the other issue is that for the most part, the basins are supposed to be level. Obviously, they have little rises in them, but for the most part, they're level. It actually leans, and the problem is the water, and due to the gravity, is coming to the north wall, which borders on her property.
Okay. And it goes down to the Rancocas
Right.
Creek.
And matter of fact, the 2 houses right now are experiencing a lot of issues. We've gone to East Hampton Township. They tell us we really can't do anything. We've been to Lumberton, who's stalling. We've actually started going to our 8th district and talking to them the situation. But we're trying to get some kind of resolution to this matter.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. You going to stick around?
Yes.
I'll see you as soon as we get done.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Evening, Mayor.
Hi, I'm Rita Romeo, and I'm the mayor of Chesterfield Township. On behalf of the members of the Township Committee who are here with me this evening, we are once again asking you, as we did on December 12th and in February, to meet with a subcommittee of the Freeholders and a subcommittee of the Township Committee to discuss the pending application of New Jersey Natural Gas for a road occupancy permit along County Route 528, Burlington, Chesterfield Road. As you know, Burlington Chesterfield Road is one of the main thoroughfares that runs through the center of Chesterfield Township. As you also know, neither your attorneys nor New Jersey Natural Gas's attorneys have been willing to meet with our attorneys or North Hanover's attorneys to discuss the plans and maps that have been prepared and the impact that this project will have on our communities. It is obviously going to be substantial and will require numerous detours throughout our community. Our roads are going to be heavily impacted and our residents are going to be dramatically inconvenienced. Both Chesterfield and North Hanover Townships intervened in the lawsuit that New Jersey Natural Gas filed against the County of Burlington over its road occupancy policy. We did that because the county asked us to. For the last 2 years, however, the county has effectively shut us out from any discussions that it has had with New Jersey Natural Gas. Only once were we able to meet with county officials, and that was almost immediately after this Freeholder board took office. We met on January 8th, 2019 at Chesterfield Township with your county engineering department, including Joe Brickley, Marty Livingston, and Mike Nye. They were very informative, and it was abundantly clear that New Jersey Natural Gas had failed to address numerous issues that were of enormous importance to the engineering department and that implicate the public health, safety, and welfare of our communities through which the pipeline will be constructed. And don't forget, this pipeline offers no benefits at all to Burlington County residents, businesses, and taxpayers. In a recent phone call among the attorneys and Judge Bookbinder, your attorneys made it clear to the court that the county was doing everything possible to advance the interests of New Jersey Natural Gas in this pipeline, and indeed suggested that the issuance of the road permit occupancy was again imminent. This is completely contrary to discussions that some of us have had with you individually, and certainly contrary to the information that we were given on January 8th. Unfortunately, since you have completely shut Chesterfield Township out of the process, we are unable to gauge exactly how close you are to issuing the permit. And please be clear on this, contrary to at least what one of you has said publicly recently, the permit has not yet been issued by your engineering department, nor is it an inevitability. We implore you to direct your engineering department to refrain from issuing any permits for the use of County Route 528 until we have had an opportunity to review the matter and address to you our concerns. As I previously requested of you, we respectfully ask that a subcommittee of the Freeholder Board, along with your county solicitor and county engineer, meet with the subcommittee of Chesterfield Township, our solicitor, and our engineer. We believe that this can be a productive meeting and will help inform you of the concerns we have with regard to the impacts of such a massive project upon our community. It is simply unfair of you to continue down this path, which will result, as your attorneys have indicated to Judge Bookbinder, in the imminent release of that permit without affording us the opportunity and indeed the courtesy of meeting with us to show us exactly what is going to take place, how it's going to take place, where the proposed detours are, the hours of operation, the timing of this project, and many, many other issues. We are completely in the dark. How in the world can you consider that to be fair? You're putting us in a position that once the permit is issued, of being adverse to you. We would much rather work with our county freeholders than be your adversaries. So accordingly, we respectfully ask that you adopt a motion this evening directing your engineering department to not issue any permits to New Jersey Natural Gas until after our subcommittees meet and we have an opportunity to address to you our concerns, our suggestions, our insights and recommendations that we might be able to offer you and that you might be able to offer us before any further approvals or permits are given. Your engineering department is just that. It's a department. You have the authority to direct the department to refrain from issuing the permits and any other approvals. Just need 20 more seconds. Okay. We urge you to do that this evening. The next conference call before Judge Bookbinder and the attorneys is scheduled for tomorrow. Nothing would make us happier than to have our attorney report to us that your attorneys advised the court that you have directed the engineers to withhold any permits and approvals until such time as the public entities have had an opportunity to meet. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Dawn Sheridan Donahue, 79 Burlington, Chesterfield Road. So I have to tell you that I sat here time and time again through many of meetings before some of you were on this board. And I can remember clearly Latham Tiger and Katie Gibbs having their 825 local men in here supporting this project, supporting it, saying how many jobs it was going to create. Well, I'll have you know that the one in Manchester, there's no union jobs to be had. So you sat here and you swayed, you had your union reps and all the other union reps, which, by the way, my husband is a union official, so I am all for union jobs, swayed the New Jersey DEP, the BPU, all of them to say, we're going to have union jobs. You don't have union jobs. What's happening right now in Manchester is they're using independent contractors. And Latham, you can be sure you can back this one up, that when you're in a union, there are contracts, there are rules and regulations those people have to abide by. And that is why when union jobs are there, it's a lot safer. Right now, they don't have that in Manchester. I took a ride down there. It is very scary to see the stuff that's going on. First of all, there's nobody policing any of the equipment. I could have easily went on there, drove them around, did whatever I wanted, but I didn't. But again, that just shows, not to mention those pipelines, they have them on Fisher Road. Nobody's guarding them. So any kids can go on there, play with the welds, things like that. Like, this is not something you play with. This is the life and safety of the people and the residents that elected you guys to do the thing. Like I said before, I'm strongly for unions, but this is not, they lied to you. They lied. And I will also tell you, I was at the New Jersey DEP meeting in Burlington, and they got up there and they swore, we're gonna have union jobs, we're gonna have, they breached a contract, a verbal contract saying they were gonna have union people. So I ask you guys, if they can lie about that, what else are they lying? And I will tell you this, the reason they're not using union people is because they don't want to pay prevailing wage. Which means if they're cutting corners that way, ask yourselves, what else are they going to cut corners? Safety of the residents, safety of the roads. They just did a pipeline on South River Road and Cranberry Road. It was put in by non-union people. They did it as fast as possible. They got a problem up there. The road is dipping. And of course, you know, New Jersey Natural Gas, all them say, well, it's not our problem, it's construction. Not our problem, it's New Jersey Natural Gas. But in the meantime, Cranberry Township has got to figure out how to fix this because they got a ton of trucks going there and they got people. I've had neighbors say to me, if they shut this road down, how are we getting out? What if there's an emergency? I said, I don't know. Our freeholders and our county engineers are not saying anything. And that's a scary situation. It was eye-opening to go to Manchester. So I sat in front of the freeholders of Ocean County and told them that this is a disaster waiting to happen. And they just were like, okay, well, we'll look into it. So I'm asking you guys to please be proactive, because when you have small businesses like that, private, independent, there's no checks and balances. At least with the union, there is checks and balances. They're subject to, a lot of them, drug testing on site if they need to. There's other things like that. All I'm asking for is, we elected you to protect us. And me as a mother, I want to protect my child. And I need to have you guys standing behind me. And this is not like, it's got to be done the right way, and it's not. And I have pictures if you guys want to see them, and I'm sure they're going to hand you some too, but it's a mess out there. And it's not something, and my other question to you guys is, it's all well and good to say, okay, so if you approve this, our engineer department, you know, will come out whenever they are, but my question is, 5-10 years down the line, if the road starts collapsing, who's going to pay for it? The taxpayers? Because I'll tell you right now, I don't want to pay for it. It's not something I want, and I'm sure the people in Willingboro, Mount Laurel, they're not asking to pay for this either. And I do remember, I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to close out, when I was at a meeting with the Board of Public Utilities, they were trying to raise the rates. It was down in Freehold. And they said, we need this raise the rates so we can pay for a pipeline. And the AARP guy got up and said, why should we pay for a pipeline that's not benefiting us and it's not going to help us in any way? Why should we pay for a project that you want to take on? This is your responsibility. So again, you have to look at everything. It's not a good situation. They're not union people, and like I said, ladies and Tiber, I know you're part of Local 825. You should be outraged by this. Like, this is, they lied is basically what it is. And I saw your guys sitting up here saying, oh, we're going to have jobs, this is so good, but it's not. It's not. It's all to line their pockets at the expense of us, the residents, and your tax dollars. And you just said, Tom, about the budget being so low. Well, if the road starts collapsing and you guys got to pay for it, how's that budget going to be low? Like, how is that fair to the rest of the taxpayers, especially us or people in Southampton, Bedford, that didn't ask for this either? So please, like I said, please look at that and, you know, don't issue until we can figure it out.
Good evening. Agnes Marcel, 42 Cromwell Drive, Chesterfield. I'm also the president of People Over Pipelines. And representatives of People Over Pipelines, as you've heard, visited several sites in Ocean County last week where construction of the Southern Reliability Link high-pressure gas pipeline has begun. New Jersey Natural Gas has started construction of the pipeline despite the fact several lawsuits which are in the courts are not yet resolved. NJNG has acknowledged that they are building the pipeline at their own risk. POP visited multiple sites in Plumstead and Manchester Townships, where pipe is being laid. Several residents there have complained to us, to the mayor of our town, and on Facebook, that the construction has caused sinkholes in the roads and on their property, and their residents have reported that their foundations have cracked. They state that they've not had much help from their local elected officials. Surprisingly, you know, that's New Egypt. It's Ocean County. It's Ron Dancer. You'd think they'd get some kind of help. But they've had no help on how to remedy these problems. Ocean County wasn't even aware that Fisher Road was in Ocean County. One site Bob visited in Manchester is a facility very close to a medical facility for medically fragile children, the Manchester Pediatric Medical Daycare, where the pipeline is being constructed within 100 feet about of the hospital. Bob members saw construction equipment, including horizontal directional drilling apparatus, bats containing chemicals, and large drill bits along the roadway. The construction site was unsupervised and unsecured, and there were no warning signs warning the people to stay away from the equipment. Residents of both Ocean and Burlington counties have concerns about the safety of the operation. Burlington County has not issued construction permits, mainly because of unresolved safety issues. These concerns are well-founded, as evidenced by the state of construction in Ocean County. I submit these photos taken April 4th on Tobias Avenue in Manchester Township and Fisher Road in Plumstead Township, both in Ocean County. Plainly, NJNG are not to be trusted when it comes to the safety of our communities. We spoke at the Ocean County Freeholders meeting and told them of these reports of sinkholes and metal plates along Fisher Road. The engineer said he would look into it, but they believe that the SRL is NJNG's facility, and as such, they are not responsible. I beg of you not to take that tack. NJNG will not volunteer any information without an open request or whatever the non-governmental equivalent is. They are bad actors, and unless you are in cahoots with them, I urge you to stand firm and not only not issue the road opening permits, but please rescind the road closing permits your predecessors granted. Otherwise, and I hate to say it, but I see very little difference between your administration and the last. And just as a side note, maybe if Sean Erlin was relieved of his duties on the Pinelands Commission, he could address these water problems these poor people are having in their basement. Thank you.
I also have some pictures. Jane Farms, 14 Thompson Street, Bordentown City. I went along with Agnes and several other people on the little field trip to these places. And I'm not going to repeat all the things that they have said, but I'll say that my main takeaway from this is that we cannot trust New Jersey Natural Gas to do a safe job. No permits should be given to them to tear up roads in Burlington County neighborhoods. There were flimsy falling down fences along areas where they had dug. Absolutely no trespassing signs, no caution signs. And this, as Agnes said, was on basically the driveway to the Pediatric Medical Daycare Center in Ocean County. It's just not a company that we can trust. And the other main reason for this, we need to protect those preserved pinelands. Please don't let this happen to us.
evening, Freeholders. I'm Ryan Greck from Pinelands Preservation Alliance. I'm here along with a number of other voices tonight to encourage you to stand strong against the Southern Reliability Link pipeline. This Freeholder Board was elected by the residents of Burlington County as representatives, as champions, as leaders who will make decisions that impact everyone in this county based on what is best for everyone in this county. That is the expectation. So far, you have not issued the road permit to New Jersey Natural Gas to build the pipeline in Burlington County. And I want to encourage you tonight to not bend to the pressure of the corporations and agencies that want to put the residents of this county at risk in terms of their bodily safety, in terms of their money, and in terms of their right to clean air and clean water. Be the leaders that you were elected to be. Continue to resist a pipeline that has at least 9 lawsuits filed against it and will very likely be stopped in the courts because it's illegal. It violates the comprehensive management plan of the Pinelands National Reserve. And when this does happen, Ocean County residents will have to endure a second wave of construction noise, road detours, air pollution, and destruction of their equipment when New Jersey Natural Gas rips up the pipeline they've already gone ahead and installed in that county. Don't subject the residents of your county to the same fate. You have the authority to hold up this construction. You can ensure that the merits of those court cases have that opportunity to be heard against the pipeline. We're here to have your backs if you stand against the Southern Reliability Link. Thank you.
That's right.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Patti Caruso. I'm a resident of Upper Freehold. First of all, I want to thank you for holding your meetings at night rather than at 4 p.m. like they do in Ocean County when most people are at work. And so I guess the message there is they don't want people to come out in numbers to have a voice. So we appreciate you holding this at night. As freeholders, I know that you've made a commitment and taken an oath to serve the people, to protect them, to assure their safety and welfare. We all need to be advocates for our children, families, animals, air, water, safety. What I don't understand is why won't anyone stand up to New Jersey Natural Gas? Why? Is corporate greed and the millions of dollars they're going to make more important than everyone's safety and welfare, protecting the water, the trillions of gallons of water in the Pinelands? Why is their corporate gain more important than people along a 28-mile route? That's what I'd like to know. It seems very simple to me. I'm not sure why we can't stand up to them. I'm asking you to please be leaders and stand up for this. This pipeline would go directly in front of police and fire stations in Chesterfield. What risk would that pose if there's an explosion and the firefighters are not able to go and put out the explosion? They have to just watch it burn out. What part of that is safe? That compressor station, we talked tonight and you recognized a lot of wonderful individuals who volunteer, people who help animals, people who help individuals with Parkinson's. While people were talking about that, I was just Googling some more information about Parkinson's. And I know there's genetic influences, but also environmental. And it's from air pollution, toxins in the air. These are the chemicals, just part of the list of what these blowdowns release into the air on a regular basis. Carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, VOCs, formaldehyde, benzene, methane. None of these sound in any way healthy for any of us to breathe. And I'm sure that these pollutants influence a lot more diseases than Parkinson's. I just want to ask you to please support us. Please do the right thing. Be leaders. Be advocates. Stand up against the pressure that I'm sure you're getting. And remember the oath that you took to protect the people and residents of your county. Thank you.
My name is Denise Codesdale on 3 Rosewood Drive in Chesterfield, and I'm the Deputy Mayor of Chesterfield, New Jersey. And I'm here to add my voice as an advocate for the residents of Chesterfield. As Mayor Romeo had said, we really have requested that we have a subcommittee to meet with your engineer and the other individuals from your engineering department to answer our questions of our residents, to formulate a plan that works for our residents, for their safety, to give us some understanding as to why, despite the encouragement of and the instructions of Judge Bookbinder, why that hasn't been more forthcoming and why we have been shut out of this process. So I would really urge you to please speak to your, speak to your engineering, speak to your attorneys, and ask them to please set up an appointment and a meeting with the residents of our representatives in order to come up with plans that ensure the safety of our residents. Answer the questions that were brought up by those individuals tonight as to what is happening in Ocean County, what are we going to do if there's similar problems on our road in Chesterfield, in front of, which is very close to many residents, and as many people have mentioned, to our police department, our municipal building, our fire station. We have so many questions and we really need to sit down and have them answered. And we would strongly encourage you to do what you can to encourage that process. Thank you.
Good evening. Jeremy Leake, Committeeman, Chesterfield Township. I'm going to echo what Rita and Denise said tonight, that please do not issue the permit. We have so many questions. We're all elected first for public safety and health. That's what we have to think about on the first. We have bus routes that we'll have to redirect. 7,000 plus cars go down 528. Where they're going to detour. Most of the roads off the 528 are Chesterfield Townships, not the counties. Nobody has sat down. This process has been going on for 3+ years now. We haven't talked to any freeholders. Nobody wants to meet with us. The first meeting we had was with Joe back in January. So we're asking for the subcommittees, or at least to sit down with the attorneys, New Jersey Natural Gas, engineers, our engineers, so we can get a handle and educate our public of what's going to go on if you do issue the permit. That's all we ask. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, at this time, I'll close it for the public. This portion of the meeting, we're going to have freeholder comments. Freeholder Tyler.
Thank you, Director. I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Congratulate everyone that was not nominated and for their volunteerism. It's a very good thing when people can volunteer. Not enough people do it. And I would like to wish everybody a happy Easter. That's all I have.
Freeholder O'Connell.
Yes, thank you, Freeholder Director. Since we last met here last month, I've attended 12 meetings. I'm not going to tell you about all 12, but I would like to highlight a few of them that were kind of special. First, I'd like to thank my colleague, Freeholder Hobson, for allowing me to crash her listening post in Evesham Township on April 30th, where we explained resources that were available to the residents. Next, I'd like to thank our county prosecutor, Kofina, Scott and his staff for meeting with me to give me an overview of his department. It helps me in my role as liaison to understand what they do. I'd also like to thank them for inviting me to 3 events since we last met. The first was on Officer Resiliency for our police officers in Burlington County. It's a program that's only available in Burlington County, and the Attorney General visited during the 4-hour program, and they're looking to roll this program out across all 21 counties in New Jersey. The next was just last night. It was on an immigration and bias crimes forum. It was attended by various faith members of the community. There was a dialogue and a question and answer back and forth. Found it very interesting. And finally this morning they invited me to the 32nd annual Crime Victim Rights Week breakfast. For 32 years Burlington County has been holding this. A lot of times, we have a great criminal justice system, and the people accused of committing crimes have certain rights, and that's enshrined in law and as it should be. But a lot of times the victims of these crimes are overlooked. And I'd especially like to thank the Victims Advocate Group, which is within the Prosecutor's Department. These are men and women who assist the victims of crime, because many times as they go through the trial process, it can take a very long time. There's delays. These people work with them to try and calm their fears, because sometimes people are worried that the people being accused of crimes may retaliate against them. There's a fear component. These people will give it their time to help these victims, and they're to be applauded. As we're honoring volunteers, this past Saturday I got to attend the Volunteer Center of Burlington County. I know a lot of the volunteers that were honored have left. This is just a sample. There were over 30 different organizations there. For volunteers for literacy, an Armed Forces Heritage Museum, they're looking for volunteers. As Freeholder Tiver and Freeholder Singh pointed out, these people give it their time. They want little or no recognition. They're certainly not making any money, but they go a long way towards making our county a great place to live in. And finally, I'd like to thank Cinnaminson Middle School for inviting me to their Unity Day. This is a program they started in 1985, and I'd like to single out the 2 Unity Club advisors, Melissa DiClementi and Ali Palat. It was really a wonderful program. Our congressman was there, Andy Kim, as well as our Assemblywoman Carol Murphy. The children are encouraged to volunteer and do service projects from September up until April. And they raised for the Food Bank of South Jersey 1 ton of food. They actually showed us a video of the amount of food. It was really quite incredible. In addition, certain groups took field trips. One group of older students went down to Washington, D.C. and to Arlington, Virginia, where they laid a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Another group went to Philadelphia to the Liberty Bell. And the last group, another group actually went to Ground Zero in New York City to see and to hear. They went through the museum there to hear about 9/11. Many of them are so young. This actually occurred before they were born. To encourage children at a young age to volunteer and to be aware of the history that may have occurred before they were born or alive is a wonderful thing, and Cinnaminson schools are to be commended for doing this. That's all, Freeholder Director. Thank you.
Freeholder Hobson.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. I'd just like to congratulate all the volunteer groups that were acknowledged today. I'd like to remind everyone that the Women's Advisory Council Awards Banquet will be held on June 11th, so please stay tuned. All of the award recipients have been notified, so please stay tuned for those updates as we get closer to the date. Everyone get home safely.
Deputy Director Singh.
Thank you, Director. Thank you everyone for coming by, as usual, all the directors for being here. Let's do first shout out to our Freeholder O'Connell for putting that many steps in, the mileage. I mean, it's a part-time position, but we're so fortunate for him, putting hours upon hours a week into this, presenting our board, our services we provide all throughout the county. It's just really good to hear that all these programs, that you're able to attend. Sometimes I'm a little jealous that I can't, but then, at the same time I also feel fortunate that, you're on the board to do that, because, last year with all of us, with full-time jobs, we just were not able to do it, and it's really refreshing to hear that you're able to represent us all over the places. Echoing the comments from the director earlier, thank you, Director Fullian and our CFO Havlick for really being the leaders in this budget process. 3 months and a week into the year to introduce a budget, millions and millions of dollars, and look over all the books, look at where these monies are, where things are going, figure out what is the best possible position we can put in the county is not easy. So I am sure, along with all the other freeholders, we're really thankful to both of you to present this budget to us, and now we'll have a month or so of public discussion, looking up at things, and a public presentation in May before we adopt the budget. I know our CFO has went above and beyond this year to actually open up office hours on Thursday evenings. The first time I ever heard that she's going to avail herself. She has a number, an email, and an office, and she's going to be there on Thursday nights to take any questions, any visitations about the budget. So very thankful of that, putting yourself out there. As the director mentioned, $250,000 less to be raised by tax this year than the last year. And another thing I remember CFO mentioned in the details earlier is at this point we have, thanks to her and our grant writers, we have secured $1.1 million in grants already at this point in the year, compared to last year was by June we had similar numbers. So, more grant money we can get from outside, certainly helps with our budgeting. And we're just very thankful of it. And in terms of the Resource Conservation Parks Department, we're looking forward to having some of the trail projects that we have going on to finally develop those. We're also going to be looking at the Willingboro Lakes project this year, finally putting that, the boots on the ground and developing that. We have some design plans, and we're going to be holding our meetings with the local community to put it out in public and then eventually do bidding. And hopefully we can have that park up and running in a much better shape for the public, enjoying it. Maybe that will be the first place I do fishing at. But I'm very thankful for our CFO. Actually, Carolyn, could you please stand up? Just, there you go. This woman is amazing. Numbers wise, the brain, she can do things like that. And to put a county budget together in 3 months and 1 week is no joke. And what you have done is remarkable, and we're really thankful of your work, staying here till late nights to get this done to us. Okay, and thank you, Director. I'm going to stop right here.
Okay, thank you. Once again, thanks to all the directors. The budget process, as Deputy spoke about, is very grueling. I want to commend all of our department heads. I know you were all instrumental in working with Carolyn. I appreciate everything that you've done. Everybody realizes how stringent that process is, and aside from her great talents, I want to thank everybody for helping us get to where we are. When you take a look at the books and you take a look at everything that goes on within the county, $500,000, $250,000 might not sound like a lot, but I know the work that went in to get to that. For the people from Chesterfield, this evening I make a commitment to you that I will talk with the legal team, I will talk with Judge Bookbinder, and anything that we are capable of doing to go together or talk, I will try to make that happen. Understand that, once again, there are certain limitations due to some of the legal activity that's going on. If there's anything that we can do to get together, I will try to make that happen.
Thank you.
I promise, people are gonna tell me what to do based on everything that's going on, but I don't think that there should not be any communication at all, okay? Am I to understand, Mayor, that your legal people are not on the calls with Judge Bookbinder now? Because you said you're being thrown out. Does that mean your legal team is?
They are, they're on the group.
They're on the call? Okay.
They're only on the group call.
Okay.
Evidently, there's talks between the county solicitor and New Jersey Natural Gas that we're not privy to. But we're on Bookbinder's calls.
All right, sounds good. That, I need clarification on that.
Yes.
Okay, once again, thanks for everybody coming out, and safe ride home, and happy Easter. This time, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.